On this week's show, the Indoor Football League's United Bowl Championship game is set, and ESPN gets duped into airing a bogus football game.
In this week's history lesson, we tell the story of how the Great Lakes Naval Training Station played a role in making the Cleveland Browns a pro football powerhouse.
That and much more this week in the world of football.
Hello again, everyone, and welcome to another edition of This Week in the World of Football. This is episode number 213 for September 7th, 2021. I'm your host, Randy Snow, and across the table from me, as always, is my son, Adam.
Nothing like early morning Tuesday recording sessions.
It is very early on
Goodness
Tuesday
gracious.
morning.
I'm just tired of my second shift lifestyle right now.
Yeah.
I'm exhausted.
Yeah, well, hopefully... You thought it was going to be over with by this week, but it's going another week or two.
It's going on another week or two.
Yeah.
Luckily, I'm just going to work one day this week, and then I got a nice long camping trip ahead of me for the weekend.
Yeah, you had this schedule for a while.
Well, yeah. Unfortunately, the music festival we go to is canceled for the second year in a row.
Yeah.
So instead, our friend group just decided, let's just go camping together anyway. So we found a place up north, and we're going to go somewhere I've never been before.
North of the Mackinac Bridge.
North of the Mackinac Bridge.
Cool.
Yeah,
cool.
I'm very excited.
All right. We come to you each week from the World of Football Man Cave, located right here in the center of the football world, Kalamazoo, Michigan. We're here to promote the game of football in all its many forms, past, present, and future. From the NFL to the CFL to the XFL, college, high school, indoor, and arena football, we inform and entertain our listeners with the glorious buffet that is the world of football. All this while keeping a close eye on the rich history of the game. Thanks for checking out our podcast. We'd love to get your feedback on one of our many platforms: Apple Podcasts, SoundCloud, Stitcher, TuneIn, Spotify, iHeartRadio, and now YouTube, where we post the entire audio portion of the show, as well as selected video highlights. So, let's review what happened this past week, starting with Adam and the World of Football scoreboard.
That's right. We're kicking things off with the CFL. It's week 5. We had Labor Day weekend games, so buckle in, everybody.
Yeah, big tradition up there.
Big tradition. And it started off on Friday with the Montreal Alouettes pretty much kicking the tar out of the Ottawa Red Blacks, 51-29. How about that? Montreal quarterback Vernon Adams was 18-23 for 288 yards with 4 touchdowns.
Yeah.
Running back William Stanback had 15 carries for 112 yards, while wide receiver Eugene Lewis caught 5 passes for 120 yards and 2 touchdowns. Not too shabby of a day. Then, we're not even done. Wide receiver Jake Winky had 7 receptions for 118 yards and also 2 touchdowns.
Yeah.
While defensive lineman Almondo Sewell had 1 rush for 1 yard and a touchdown.
Yeah.
Playing the role of William the Refrigerator Perry
it was
up
like
there.
the fridge going in there. Big number 90. They lined him up as a fullback and handed him the ball on the 1 yard line, and he got to score a touchdown. You can do that when you're beating your opponent pretty bad.
Yeah,
they certainly were.
Had to feel good being an Alouettes fan Friday night. But on the other side of it, Ottawa quarterback Dominique Davis was 23 of 33 for 291 yards, threw a couple of touchdowns, but he also threw a couple INTs.
Yep.
So a bit of a rough day for the Red Blacks on Friday.
Yeah.
Then we had to wait a day because Sunday was when we got our next action in the CFL. The Winnipeg Blue Bombers pretty much put a handle on the Saskatchewan Roughriders, 23-8. The 2 best records in the CFL went at it. Saskatchewan undefeated going into this game for their Labor Day meeting. Winnipeg quarterback Zach Caleros was 19-27 for 245 yards and a touchdown. He looked good. He was also running the ball quite a bit when we were watching it. Then running back Sean McGuire ran 3 times for 3 yards and had 2 touchdowns.
Yeah.
What a nice day.
You touch the ball 3 times, you get 2 touchdowns out of it.
There you go. I mean, we can only wish that we could do that.
Really.
And then Saskatchewan quarterback, my favorite quarterback in the CFL right now, did not have a great day. Cody Fajardo was 23 of 39, 211 yards, no touchdowns, but he threw 3 interceptions. So,
a very bad day.
Yeah,
for
Saskatchewan
Cody
had a
Fajardo.
pretty rough game there. I think they came off that bye, so I think it was a bye. I could be wrong. It's been a minute. But regardless, I mean, no excuse. What a rough game for Saskatchewan there.
Yeah, this was the 57th Labor Day meeting for these two teams. They've got 3 games that are all Labor Day classics, and they're all the same matchup every year. And the other two games were also Labor Day Classics. But this was the 57th time these two teams have met on Labor Day. Continue with the other two games.
Yep, and then there'll also be not double headers, back-to-backs, because a lot of these teams are going to be playing each other.
Yes,
in this upcoming
they're
weekend.
Going to meet again next week at the other person's home stadium.
Yeah, so a nice home and home for some of these teams. So we'll see if Saskatchewan can get revenge. On Monday, the Hamilton Tiger Cats pretty much walked all over the Toronto Argonauts 32-19 for their 50th Labor Day meeting. Hamilton quarterback Dane Evans was 21 of 29, filling in for Jeremiah Masoli. 21 of 29 for 248 yards and 2 touchdowns, while defensive back Frankie Williams had a 67-yard punt return for a touchdown. How about that?
That was a nice play. I watched the replay on that.
Yeah.
That was nice.
Too bad for my Argos, but I mean, I also do like seeing Hamilton. I know it's a weird conflicting thing because we like Hamilton and we like Toronto, but they're super big rivals.
Oh, yeah.
But this is also the 7th straight Labor Day win over the Argos for... is it 7th straight, or is it 7th straight just at Tim Hortons Field?
No, that's 7 straight. So they home and away.
Okay. Because I think since they've had that stadium built, Argos have not won there on Labor Day.
Well,
so I saw I think a big old poster in Hamilton somewhere where they said, "Hey Argos, it's 7 straight something like 7 straight losses in Tim Hortons Field or whatever it's called."
The stat I saw said that this was their 7th straight Labor Day win over the Argos.
Okay, then. So we had that game, and then the second of the doubleheader on Monday's Labor Day games, the Edmonton Elks took out the Calgary Stampeders 32-20 for their 60th Labor Day meeting. Edmonton quarterback Trevor Harris was 31 of 41 for 398 yards passing with 4 touchdowns. Then you had wide receiver Mike Jones with 4 receptions and 107 yards with a touchdown. Then Calgary quarterback Jake Mayer was 29 of 46 for 328 yards and a touchdown, with Calgary wide receiver Kamar Jordan getting 9 catches for 123 yards. So Mayer's still filling in for the injured Bo Levi Mitchell.
Yeah, he's doing a good job. I mean, this is his 3rd straight game with over 300 yards passing. He's lost 2 of them, but he's slinging it. He is really playing.
He puts up decent stat lines, but decent stat lines don't always get you the wins. So.
Right, exactly.
And then on bye this week, we have the British Columbia Lions, whose next game will be home against the Ottawa Red Blacks. So that should be an interesting matchup. Those two teams could definitely use a win. And then we're going to jump over into the standings. In the West, Winnipeg jumps up top with a 4-1 record, followed by Saskatchewan at 3-1. And remember, these two teams will play each other again this week. Edmonton and British Columbia sitting at 2-2, with Calgary rounding out the bottom portion with a 1-4 record. And then we're going to move on over to the East, where it's Hamilton taking the top spot right now, technically, even though Hamilton, Montreal, and Toronto all sit with 2-2 records, followed by Ottawa at the bottom with a 1-3 record.
You're only 1 game out of first place in the East. So
yeah,
you may be in the bottom, but the top is not very far.
That East is pretty tight. And then, I mean, for Hamilton and Toronto, that rematch will be a big one this upcoming weekend. Yeah. So we've seen Toronto bounce back. They had that home and home with Winnipeg, where they lost the first one, won the second one. So we'll see what happens. And then a little bit of CFL news before we move on, since it's the lone CFL news we have this week. The canceled Elks and Argos game from last week is rescheduled now for November 16th. So that'll be 3 games in 7 days. Saturday, November 13th at Saskatchewan. I assume this is all for Edmonton?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. It wasn't made clear in the notes. 3 games. So November 13th, they'll be at Saskatchewan. Tuesday, November 16th, they'll be at Toronto. And then Friday, November 19th, at British Columbia. That seems like a lot.
Well, all they did was they just pigeonholed this rescheduled game with Toronto between 2 other games. That's why they're playing 3 games in 7 days.
I'm surprised the players union let this happen.
It was either that or forfeit the game and not get paid. So they're going to play and get paid.
Well, there you go.
They had a regular scheduled Saturday game, and now they're going to pigeonhole this game on a Tuesday night, and then they're going to play Friday. Man. And all 3 are road games. That's going to be a rough stretch for Edmonton.
Yeah, no kidding. Wow. All right, speaking of rough stretches, the rough stretch to get to the United Bowl is almost over. Because
nice transition.
Yes, because the Indoor Football League played its semifinal round of playoff games this past weekend to determine who will go to that United Bowl championship game. On Saturday, we had the Massachusetts Pirates take out the Frisco Fighters 43-22, boy, I thought this game would be a lot closer.
Yeah, I did too. It was in Massachusetts. Massachusetts
I mean,
has
we
been playing
figured
real well lately.
I figured Massachusetts would still get the win, but man, I thought the Frisco Fighters would, pardon the pun, show a little more fight.
Yeah.
But alas, I mean, congratulations to the Pirates. We've talked about them for several weeks, how they've jumped from the NAL to the IFL and just pretty much dominated.
I think that gives them like 9 wins in a row now.
Yeah, that makes me consider them very likely winners of the United Bowl at this point. But their opponent was decided on Sunday as the Arizona Rattlers narrowly escaped the Duke City Gladiators 58-55 on a missed field goal in the closing seconds for Duke City. What a heartbreaking thing. Because Duke City, they returned the last kickoff return. There was about 10 seconds left or so, and they got it down. They fumbled it down to the 1-yard line, so they had a couple chances in the end zone after a penalty, and then they just decided with 3 seconds left to kick the field goal instead of just go for the win and the touchdown. And that bites them in the butt, and wide. I forget if it went wide right.
I think it was wide left, but
wide right or left. Regardless, the home fans in Arizona erupted into glee as the Arizona Rattlers escaped.
Yeah, Arizona should have lost that game. We thought they'd win going away.
I mean, Duke City was a very tough out that whole game.
Yeah, they were, the 5th seed?
They were the 5th seed. They were up at halftime.
It was a close game all game long because you kept checking the scores on your phone, and it was close, like no more than a touchdown difference all game long.
Yeah.
So it did come right down the end. And what's funny about this is that you were watching this. You watched the end of the game on your phone.
Yep.
Because we were sitting on the couch. You pulled out your phone, and we watched that last couple of plays happen. And then we had the CFL. We had CFL game.
We had a CFL game, and we had college football.
Yeah, when we were watching the Notre Dame game that night.
Might have been.
So we had CFL, we had college, we have indoor league playoffs going on. It was great.
Hey, it's always fun to get together and watch football on every screen imaginable.
That's right.
I mean, we could have probably had a few more phones out to watch more stuff. So
maybe.
But yeah, so that sets up the United Bowl 2021 matchup with the Massachusetts Pirates traveling to Arizona to play the Rattlers. That game will be this upcoming Saturday, I believe.
Sunday. I've got it in
or Sunday
at the bottom.
Maybe it's Sunday, 5:00 Central Standard Time, I believe. Yeah, Sunday, 5:00 Central Standard Time. So yeah, check it out. It should be on YouTube, if not on that Stadium. I don't know if that Stadium Sports Network will have it on there or not. But
I don't know about that.
Regardless, we have our matchup. Should be an interesting one. I think the Pirates. Don't sleep on the Pirates.
Yeah.
Arizona, despite being the number 1 seed, the Pirates the number 2 seed. I think the Pirates have a shot.
Yeah, I mean, if Arizona struggled against Duke City, what are they going to do when the number 2 seed comes to town just a week later? So it's anybody's game. Up until this last week, I would have said Arizona was going to win this thing walking away.
Yep,
but
I would have too.
But no, 50-50. It's a toss-up now. Pirates or Rattlers. Who's going to win?
Yep.
We'll let you know next week.
Yep. And then with that, we throw it over to Randy with the college football portion of the rundown.
Well, before we get into that, I wanted to compliment you on your T-shirt today. You are wearing a throwback Detroit Drive T-shirt from the Arena Football League. Very nice. They were around in the 80s and early 90s. They won 4 Arena Bowl titles. It's a very nice shirt. Lots of nice powder
and
blue.
you're wearing, I guess I have to throw the compliment back. I mean, your old shirt with several holes in it.
I've worn
Canton
it for a long
Bulldogs.
time. I've had it for a long time.
Yeah.
But it adds to the flavor. I mean, because with Canton Bulldogs, NFL champs in 1922 and 23, I think, whatever it says here.
He's got to read his shirt to know. Mr. History guy over there.
Yeah, 22 and 23. But, original member of the NFL from 1920. I had this for a long time. Bought it at the gift shop at the Pro Football Hall of Fame, and I've just worn the heck out of it. That's why there's holes in the armpits and the neck skin trade. But
thank you. I might as well just get you a T-shirt that says Transition Ruiner. Okay, so anyway, back to Randy with the college football scores of the week.
All right, we're going to start at the FBS level. This was week 1, technically, even though last week was week 0 and games were played. But at the FBS level, it was number 1 Alabama over number 14 Miami by the score of 44-13.
Not even a contest. Man, I thought this might be a little better of a game, but Alabama showed why they're consistently the number 1 program in the country.
In a little bit closer game, number 2 Oklahoma over Tulane, 40-35.
Yes.
An upset, number 5 Georgia over number 3 Clemson, 10-3.
What a game this was. The only touchdown was a very, what was it, like a 80-yard interception. It was like a big interception, I thought. But yeah, no offensive scoring during the game, I believe. no offensive scores other than the 2 field goals. But man, oh man, what a defensive battle this game was, and to watch Clemson lose at home in this first big game was something else. And then, I don't know if you saw Trevor Lawrence had to wear Georgia Bulldog stuff to the Jaguars practice facility because he lost a bet.
I did not see that.
Yeah, but it was pretty funny. Him just decked out in Georgia Bulldog stuff. Pretty good.
7 sacks by Georgia in that game, and
yes.
that helps beat the number 3 team in the country.
Hey, if anything, if you're a Clemson fan, I'd rest easy knowing that defense is still that good, and that loss will probably get made up for at some point maybe this season. Like they're not out of the playoff just because of this one big loss at the beginning of the year. Yeah. That defense will probably keep them in a lot of games. That offense just needs to get going.
Yeah. All right, number 4, Ohio State beat Minnesota 45-31. I watched a little bit of this.
Game. This was so close for a while there, and then
back and forth.
Ohio State just pulled it out, and man, like that freshman quarterback, was it a freshman quarterback they started?
I think so.
But he did not start off great, but man, when they got going, it was like 60-yard touchdown pass, 70-yard touchdown. It was just long touchdown plays for Ohio State. It just shows that offense has got some firepower to it. But Minnesota hung in there for a while, but Ohio State was too much.
Yeah.
At some point, and you felt bad. There was one big call at the end of the game that Minnesota player got targeted, but they said the guy fumbled the ball. They didn't call targeting. Then they gave the ball back to Ohio State, and I was like, wow, if they would have called that a targeting call, it would have been Minnesota's ball there to at least try to go down and make it a closer game. But man, I thought the refs screwed that one up. I'm not saying Minnesota would have won. Right. I think it could have been a little closer. That score would have been a little more respectable, but it's a 2 possession win for Ohio State there. But shoot, Ohio State again showing how good they are.
Yeah, I thought Ohio State was going to take a step back this year with a new quarterback.
They just reload.
No. The good teams do that. They just, next man up. Whatever.
Well, shoot, I think Ohio State's got 4 or 5 5-star quarterbacks on their roster alone.
That's
so,
right, they do. Yeah.
So good luck not reloading.
Yep. All right, it was number 9 Notre Dame over Florida State, 41-38 in overtime.
What a game!
We were watching this game.
Yep.
And Notre Dame was way ahead.
It was like
quite a while.
It was like 38-20.
And I went to bed.
And you were like, if you want to stay and watch it,
let me know
fine.
what the score is.
And I kind of did the same thing. I was like, going into the fourth quarter, they're down by 18. That might be hard to come back from. So I went, and I think I went and did some stuff, and then I checked my phone, and I was like, they're about to go into overtime.
18 unanswered points.
18 unanswered
in the fourth quarter to force overtime.
Yep, and then Notre Dame was able to get away with one there in overtime, that field goal at the end, because Florida State missed a 50-yard field goal, but then they challenged the play to get the ball moved, so it was a shorter field goal by like 12 yards, and then the guy missed it. So heartbreaking for Florida State, and then Notre Dame just goes out and kicks the winning field goal. And then I believe their quarterback broke a first game record for passing yards. First game of the season. And I think the offensive coordinator for for Notre Dame now was the previous record holder of the first game with the most passing yards or something. So that was kind of a cool story they followed during the game.
And then it was Michigan over our beloved Western Michigan, 47-14. We watched this pretty much whole game
at your son-in-law's house.
Yeah,
who's a big Michigan fan.
Yeah,
and who I tried talking smack to, and
you were talking smack for about the first 5 minutes, and then you shut up.
I think from the moment I walked in the door, just clapping and shouting for Western, and then we watched Western score, and it was 7-7. It was like, hey, we're gonna have a ball game.
Yep.
And Michigan had a ball game. I don't think Western had a ball game, but that was a tough one.
Yeah. Yeah, and I've got tickets to see Western Michigan this Friday night. I know you're going to be out of town.
A couple games this year.
Yeah, we got a couple of games coming up in the next couple of weeks. So looking forward to those home games. But, I wish Western had made a little bit better showing. I think they were supposed. I heard that they were supposed to be number 2 in the MAC conference this year.
Well, that's what people are projecting.
Yeah, but I mean, they had a good year last year, and hopefully they have another good year this year. All right, moving on to some upsets this week. It was Virginia Tech beating number 10 North Carolina 17-10. UCLA over number 16 LSU 38-27. Montana upsets number 20 Washington 13-7. Northern Illinois, a MAC school, over Georgia Tech 22-21. They squeaked by that one, but hey, a win's a win. And then the Charlotte 49ers over Duke, 31-28. This was the first win over a Power 5 conference school in the program history. I was there a few years ago when they brought football back to Charlotte, and they've come a long way in that time. They started out as an FCS team for a couple of years, and they moved up to FBS, and here they get their first win. So congratulations to the Charlotte 49ers for a great win in their program history. I didn't see any highlights. All I saw was a highlight of the students rushing the field after the game. So great day down there in Charlotte. All right, blowouts and shutouts. It was Buffalo over Wagner, 69-7. Rutgers over Temple, 61-14. Auburn over Akron, another MAC school, 60-10. Nebraska over Fordham, 52-7. Boston College shutout Colgate, 51-0. And UAB shutout Jacksonville State, 31-0. Man. I like to highlight the military academies, since I spent so much time in the military myself. So it was Army over Georgia State, 43-10. Air Force, my beloved Air Force, over Lafayette, 35-14. And it was Marshall defeating Navy, 49-3. Otherwise, we'd have had a trifecta of wins. Oh, I'm sorry, 49-7. Would have been all three naval military academies winning, but it wasn't to be this week. All right, we're going to spotlight some of the lower-level football teams. At the FCS level, Presbyterian over an NAIA school, St. Andrews, 84-43. Presbyterian Blue Hose quarterback Ren Heffley, write that name down, you may want to remember this one, who was a transfer from the University of Michigan, by the way, completed 38 of 50 passes for 538 yards and 10 touchdowns.
That's right. You heard that right. 538 yards and 10 touchdowns for an FCS record. When I saw that, I was like, I had to do a double take. I was like, does that really say 10 touchdowns? Yeah. Does that really say 38 yards?
And they took him out after he scored his first touchdown in the fourth quarter. They took him out and they put the backup in after that.
Well, I mean, when you already got the record.
He basically played 3 quarters and a play or two.
Dang.
Wow. Yeah, very interesting. This wasn't on TV, was it?
I'm not sure where it was broadcast.
I think we just saw a lot of highlights.
I just saw either ESPN or Sports Illustrated with the information. So.
Yeah, I think they had a video of all 10 touchdown passes that he threw. So, congratulations to Ren Heffley.
That's a heck of a record.
Yeah, the previous record was 9, so I'm not sure who held that record. But then in another game, Grambling State over Tennessee State, 16-10 in the second annual Black College Football Hall of Fame Classic at Tom Benson Hall of Fame Stadium in Canton, Ohio. That's a big mouthful for you there. This was the first game for Tennessee State's new head coach, Eddie George, the former Heisman Trophy winner and played for the Tennessee Titans. So congratulations on getting your first game in, but now you need to get your first win. Neither one of these teams looked real good. I mean, I think they said that Grambling had played in the spring, and they didn't win any games in the spring. So still looking for that first win of this year.
Yep.
Moving on to the Division II level, it was Washburn over Lincoln of Missouri by the score of 76-12, and Fort Valley State shut out Tuskegee 30-0 in a game that was on ESPN. I caught just a few minutes of this game, but it was on ESPN. In Division III, Kalamazoo College over Oberlin, 24-17, another school right here in Kalamazoo. And the Coast Guard Academy shut out the University of New England 16-0. At the NAIA level, it was number 3 Morningside of Iowa over Concordia of Nebraska, 63-7. West Texas A&M shut out Texas College 73-0, and Mercer University shut out Point of Georgia 69-0. And finally, our beloved Snow College Badgers from the National Junior College Athletic Association demolished Gordon's Fine Arts and Sports Academy by the score of 85-0.
Yep.
Wow. I think they played them in the last game of their season last year. In the spring season. I don't know if it was spring season or last year, but yeah, the second time they played them, and they just demolished them both times. So I feel bad for them. And that is it for this week's World of Football scoreboard.
Wow, it's a lot.
Yeah,
Now with
there's a
college
lot of-
back in the full swing, and with NFL next week, it's going to be even longer.
Yeah, I don't know if we're going to highlight this many college teams every week. There's just so many games.
Knowing you, it'll be this many
Have
every
to be
week.
a little more selective.
Knowing you, it'll be this every week.
Yeah, could be. We'll see.
All right, let's transition to the news.
Yes, so we're going to start out with some NFL news. The New York Giants announced that Michael Strahan's number 92 will be retired during their November 28th game versus the Philadelphia Eagles. They're also doing Eli Manning's jersey later on this. Or no, I guess Eli's comes first, and yeah, that's in September sometime, and then Michael Strahan also. So
Surprised Strahan isn't going first. He retired before Eli, and
that's true. That's true. I wonder why they picked that order.
I don't know.
Hard to say. But anyway, congratulations to both guys on getting their jerseys retired. CBS has announced that they're going to be doing another Nickelodeon broadcast again this year during the Wild Card weekend. You kind of liked it last year, but
I could see where it'd be fun for some kids, but I mean, we flipped back and forth, and it was a boring game. Then the fans trolled the game by nominating Mitchell Trubisky, the losing quarterback of the game, as the MVP. The Nickelodeon valuable player. So
and then they had their own announcers. They had
They had Nate Burleson and some kid, Disney star, I think.
Yeah,
I don't remember. It was different. I didn't hate it, but it was different. Go back and listen to that podcast. I don't even remember how I felt about it at the time.
Yeah.
I just remember being.
Well, you liked it better than I did because
probably
I wasn't crazy.
I thought it was okay.
Just okay. All right. A week or so ago, we announced that the Falcons were the first team to be fully vaccinated, and now the Tampa Bay Buccaneers announced that they are also fully vaccinated. So we have 2 teams out of 32 that are now fully vaccinated.
And they're in the same division, by the way.
And that includes players, coaches, and front office personnel.
Yep.
So congratulations to those two teams. Hopefully we'll see some more NFL teams.
I mean, 2 out of 32 is not a lot.
Yeah. Well, others are somewhat close. I mean, there's a couple others that are 80, 90% vaccinated. But if you want to have a chance to keep up with the Buccaneers are doing what it takes to get to another Super Bowl. And if you're not following their lead, you're not going to be there.
Yep.
All right, in some college news, the word Indiana was misspelled on one player's jersey for the University of Indiana. It was spelled Indinia, Indiania, and that was only on one jersey. That was freshman running back David Holloman. How does that happen on only one jersey? I mean, aren't these things like mass-produced where
you would think
every they use the same stamp on every jersey to put the name on the front?
Yeah, but that looks like it's all sewn in, so somebody really just screwed up.
I don't know what is going on. Why would one player get something wrong on their jersey?
I can't wait to find out if there's more to this story.
There could be. I don't know, but it just seems so odd that one player had their jersey wrong.
At least that we know of that was seen on camera.
Right.
So who knows if there were a few others or what, but that was the only one that we caught.
Yeah, but number 17 Indiana went on to lose to number 18 Iowa by the score of 34-6. Not that had anything.
And what's funny is you even misspelled Indiana in the rundown, so I don't know if that's on purpose or not. But
no, it was not. But I did misspell Indiana myself.
So it's not that unreasonable for somebody just to make an honest mistake.
It's fine for me to type something wrong. It's not okay for somebody to have it wrong on their jersey. I'm sorry.
Yeah, because they get paid for that job.
I hope this wasn't a freshman prank because he was a freshman running back. So I don't even know if he saw the field or not.
Yeah, I'm not sure.
Moving on to some high school news.
High school news?
The inaugural Jerry Jones Classic, presented by Whataburger. And I could talk all day about Whataburger. I love Whataburger.
You've gone there like one time. This guy
I've been
could talk
there
all day
several
about
times. I took you there once when we were down in Texas for the Cotton Bowl a couple of years ago. But
it was
I've
good.
I've eaten at Whataburger a few times. I do like it. So it's the Jerry Jones Classic presented by Whataburger at the Star in Frisco, Texas, which you can see on Hard Knocks all day long. It was played there, and it was Denton Ryan over Longview by the score of 40-7. So yeah, he's got that magnificent facility. You may as well
rent it out,
have a game there. But to name it after yourself, come on.
The game, I mean,
yeah.
If you could have the Randy Snow Classic or the Randy Snow Invitational, I mean, you already got a street named after you down there in Texas.
That's
So
right. That's right.
So
I do.
what's
It wasn't named after me, but it does have.
What's
my
a
name
high
on the street.
school game named after you? I mean, just another thing of Randy Snows in the world.
And then this other story is getting a lot of air. This is the reason why I say that high school teams should not be televised nationwide on ESPN. ESPN.
Here we go, everybody. Randy's soapbox.
ESPN was duped into airing a bogus high school game. IMG Academy out of Florida, who's won a couple of different national championships, defeated a school by the name of Bishop Sycamore out of Columbus, Ohio, by the score of 58-0. Bishop Sycamore head coach Roy Johnson was fired after the game, and here's why. The school isn't even listed on the Ohio High School Athletic Association's directory of schools. From what I heard, they're like an online school or something like that for kids to, complete their high school education or something like that. But they've been using former high school players who are in their 20s to play some of these games. They actually played a game 2 days before this game that was televised on national TV. And there's so much more to this story. All the teams on the rest of the Bishop Sycamore schedule for 2021 have all canceled their games with that school. Let's see what else I have. Ohio Governor Mike DeWine announced that the Ohio Department of Education will launch an investigation into the school. And a company by the name of Paragon coordinated this with ESPN to air the games. So Paragon looks around, finds these schools,
and brings them to ESPN. And says, "Hey, we think this would be a good matchup."
Here's a good matchup. You got a team from Ohio.
So how much of this is on Paragon?
Yeah.
Them doing their job, and then how much of it is on ESPN?
Right.
So there's a lot of people who could be at fault here, and then I've already heard that Kevin Hart's going to do or direct the documentary on this. Like, this all moved so quickly. Like, a day after this story broke, all of a sudden we hear they're doing a documentary about it. Like, well, I would assume somebody would at some point, but that was really fast. I mean, I guess you got to jump on it while the event is in the public consciousness, and this is going to be around for a while.
Yeah, and Bishop Sycamore has now become the butt of a joke, of many jokes.
So many memes. Like, after Cam Newton got cut, they said he got signed by Bishop Sycamore, and there's a lot of that going
You're
around.
going to hear a lot of Bishop Sycamore jokes and innuendos and whatnot, and it's not going to be good whenever you hear
I've seen a few. The Detroit Lions are so bad they should be relegated, and Bishop Sycamore should take over for the Lions. So, yeah, it's going around.
No, like I said, this is why I don't think that high school games should be shown on national TV. It entitles these high school kids, I'm going to be on ESPN this week. I'm great, and I'm going to get a scholarship and all this. No, you're a high school kid. You don't need to be on national TV. If they want to televise state championship games, that's fine. But like for the regular season, this should only be local television in your market. You shouldn't have an Ohio team playing a Florida team in the regular season. I know a lot of these big high schools, they do that a lot, but I don't think it's right. I just think these kids get too entitled at the high school level, and it affects the rest of their lives. Nothing good can come of it, I say.
Yeah. I mean, for some of these kids, it is exposure, and some of these kids do go off to NFL career. Or at least a big college.
They're few and far between. If they're good, these scouts will find them. They don't need to be on national TV.
That's true.
That's just my opinion. But I'm passionate about that. I don't like it. And I don't watch these games either on ESPN. So they're not getting
your viewership.
My viewership. No.
Uh-huh.
Moving on here, Eli's Places debuted on ESPN Plus.
Don't you mean Peyton's Places?
No. This is a. It says from the playbook of Peyton Manning, so he's got his hands in it, and it's basically the same thing. Only Eli goes around talking about the history of college football, and this was pretty good. Not fantastic, but he talked about the very first college game between Rutgers and Princeton in 1869. And he actually went to the school. And there's a plaque there, stating that this is the site. But he said that in a book it talked about the location being on the corner of two streets, which is like over from where the plaque is at. And so they went to this intersection, and it's now a parking lot. But he went around and he marked out the field in the parking lot. So the parking lot is basically what the field was by the dimensions. And they tried to recreate some plays and whatnot, but he was dressed up like somebody from 1869. He had the red bandana on his head because basically when this game was played, the two teams were playing the game in their street clothes. And the only way you could tell one team from another is that the Rutgers team wore these red scarves to represent that they were a team. 25 guys on a side is what they were, what they agreed upon, and it was just very interesting. He had late night show host Jon Stewart with him, who's from New Jersey, and so the two of them were bantering back and forth about this whole thing. So it was pretty good. I'm really excited to see some more episodes of Eli's Places, just like Peyton's Places. So. He's following in Eli's shadow and kind of copying on some of the things that Peyton has done, but it's still pretty good, and I'm going to keep watching.
That's fine. Hey, they're joined at the hip. I mean, they are brothers after all.
Yep.
So
yep. All right, Hard Knocks, episode 4. This episode ended after the last preseason game against Jacksonville, and it did not show any of the roster cuts to get down to the 53-man roster. So the fates of Isaac Alarcon, Azur Kamara, and Jaquan Hardy was left up in the air. The last episode
airs tonight. But I mean, we already know the cuts.
We know. I'm not going to spoil it for anybody listening, but we know what happened to all these guys. At least as of a few
I know
days
of a
ago.
couple guys, but I don't know the fate of all of them.
Yeah.
I only glanced at their cuts, and I was like, oh man, that guy got cut.
But in typical Hard Knocks fashion, it's what you think it is.
Yeah. But, yeah, so it sets up for an emotional last episode. I'm sure there'll be a lot of fluff because there's no preseason game. It'll just be them getting prepped for this game against Tampa. And I believe they didn't say it was the season finale, I think, but it should be the season finale. 5 episodes is usually there.
Because
cut off.
After this, they're going to be playing regular season games. So.
Yep.
All right. Let's see. Well, as far as this Hard Knocks, this has not been a good season. They had one good episode.
That third episode was the best one,
so far, and it's just I'm not impressed this year with it. Wonder who's going to be on there next year. Who knows?
Probably the Lions.
Don't say that. All right, Arena Football TV on YouTube. They now have 930 subscribers. They're looking to get to 1,000, so if you can help them out, please subscribe to Arena Football TV on YouTube. Get them up to 1,000. This is a great site.
Yes, because they post great content like the Tampa Bay Storm traveling to Buffalo to play the Destroyers in 1999, not 1991. Ray Bentley and the former Bills linebacker on the broadcast. Ray Bentley was a great broadcast.
Yeah, he grew up in Michigan, went to Central Michigan, and so he's a Michigan guy, and he played for the Michigan Panthers of the USFL also. But yeah, he was a former Buffalo Bills Buffalo Bills linebacker.
Didn't he coach for the team too, Ray Bentley?
I don't recall which team
for the Destroyers. He had something to do with the Destroyers.
I don't know. I just know that Chris Spielman was their head coach.
He was the head coach. Maybe Bentley a general manager or something? I don't remember.
I don't recall. But anyway, he was on the broadcast. So check that out. Game from 1991, Tampa Bay.
Not 91. The Destroyers were not a team in 1991. You have another typo. That's 99 probably.
Was it 99?
Probably, because the Destroyers weren't around in 91. Yeah, good job there, sir.
I'll have to look that up.
It was not 1991. We literally talked about an episode a couple weeks ago where it was the 1998 unveiling of the Buffalo Destroyers franchise. Okay. Gosh.
Okay.
Get your timeline.
All right.
Jeez.
You are right.
Thank you. Can I get that in writing? I got that on audio. I want that in writing.
Do you want to do the whole agenda all by yourself next week?
Nah, that's a lot of work.
Yeah. Okay. Let's move on to some obituaries this week. This is where we take a moment and honor those who've made the world of football a better place. Our first obituary is that of Cecil Cy Saunders, who played end and tackle in the NFL for 3 seasons. He has passed away at the age of 100.
Wow.
Saunders played college football at Ohio State and was selected in the 25th round of the 1945 NFL Draft by the Washington Redskins, but he never played for Washington. Instead, he played 3 seasons for the Detroit Lions from 1947 to 1949. He was the NFL's oldest living alumni, and Saunders was inducted into the Ohio State Athletic Hall of Fame in 2002.
Our next obituary is that of Keith McCants, who played linebacker and defensive end in the NFL for 6 seasons and has passed away of a suspected drug overdose at the age of 53. McCants played college football at Alabama and was the 4th overall pick in the 1990 NFL Draft by the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. He played for the Bucs from 1990 to 1992. He then went on to play for the Houston Oilers in 93 and 94, and was then traded to the Arizona Cardinals during the 1994 season, where he finished his playing career from 94 to 95.
Our final obituary this week is that of, I wish I'd given this one to you because this is a hard name, Pete Shabaram.
There you go.
A halfback in the NFL for 3 seasons, has died at the age of 92. Shabaram played college football at California and was selected in the second round of the 1951 NFL Draft by the San Francisco 49ers. He played for the 49ers in 1951, 1953, and 1954, taking the 1952 season off to serve in the Air Force during the Korean War. After his brief NFL career was over, he went into politics and spent decades serving in several different political positions in the city of Los Angeles. All right, we also have a couple of birthdays today. September 7th. Today is the birthday of Coach Paul Brown. Born on this date in 1908, died in 1991 at the age of 82. He was a high school football coach at Maslin, Ohio, where he won state championships. He won a national championship as the head coach at Ohio State. He also coached at the Great Lakes Naval Training Station for a couple of years, and he founded the Cleveland Browns, and he also founded the Cincinnati Bengals. He was inducted into the Pro Football Hall of Fame in 1967. What a career this man had.
What a career this man had, and I thought, what a perfect transition into your history lesson this week.
Right after this next obituary.
Yeah, which means
birthday.
which means you did a terrible job setting up this transition.
That's
because
right. I should have switched these two.
Yes.
Around. Okay.
Man, do I have to get my PowerPoint seminar out to teach?
Do you want to do the whole rundown next week all by yourself?
I think you just got to learn the art of the transition. We've gone over this before. I mean, I can pull out the PowerPoint, the pamphlets. I can get out the laser pointer, and we can go through this again. I mean, for 4 easy installments of $99.99, I can make sure that your transitions are way better than what they are currently.
Our other birthday for September 7th is that of quarterback Burt Jones, who turns 70 years old today. Played his college football at LSU and was the second overall pick in the 1973 NFL Draft by the Baltimore Colts. He played 10 seasons in the NFL. He was with the Colts from 73 to 81 and was the league MVP in 1976, and he finished his career with the LA Rams in 1982.
Wow.
All right.
All right. And had it not been for that birthday, which I'm glad we covered and should have been covered first, it would have been a great transition for this history lesson of yours.
Yeah, that's true. And anything on your phone happening this early
Nope.
on a Tuesday morning?
Nope, not this early in the morning. Heck no.
Okay. All right, well, let's get into this week's history lesson. And this week we're going to talk about how the Great Lakes Naval Training Station played a role in making the Cleveland Browns a pro football powerhouse. The Cleveland Browns were formed in 1946 as a member of the All-America Football Conference, a rival to the established NFL. The AAFC was around for 4 years, from 1946 to 1949, and the Browns won the league title every year. In 1950, the AAFC merged with the NFL, and 3 AAFC teams joined the NFL: the Browns, the San Francisco 49ers, and the Baltimore Colts. The Browns won the 1950 NFL title and appeared in the NFL title game every year for another 5 years, winning the title 2 more times. But how did the Browns get so good so fast? Of course, it all starts with a great coach, and Paul Brown certainly was that. It's why the team was named after him. But a great coach needs great players. It might surprise you to know that, in part, the foundation of the team can be traced back to the Great Lakes Naval Training Station during World War II. Paul Brown knew he was going to be drafted in 1943, so he enlisted in the Navy and was assigned to coach the football team at the Great Lakes Naval Training Station just north of Chicago. It was there that he began assembling the foundation of the team that he would eventually coach in Cleveland. While coaching at Great Lakes in 1945 and 1946, Brown had a player on his team by the name of Marion Motley, who would eventually sign with the Browns. He was a giant of a man, and the fact that he was black made no difference to Coach Brown. He knew a great player when he saw one. The nearby Glenview Naval Air Station also had a football team. Their quarterback was Otto Graham. Brown offered him a contract with the new Cleveland team while he was still in the service, and Graham accepted. Graham even began receiving a monthly stipend from the team while he was still serving in the Navy. Another player that Brown signed to the team during his time at Great Lakes was kicker Lou Groza, who was serving in the Navy in the Philippines at the time. Coach Brown contacted him, made him an offer to play on the team, and Groza accepted. Brown then sent a football to him in the Philippines by mail so that he could practice his kicking. These three players formed the nucleus of the Cleveland Browns team for the first 10 years of its existence. Motley, Graham, and Groza are all members of the Pro Football Hall of Fame, along with Coach Paul Brown. And they all came together while Coach Brown was serving and coaching at the Great Lakes Naval Training Station in Illinois.
Wow, this is something I never heard of, and you, other than butchering that transition prior to going into the history lesson, I mean, this was an interest. I was excited and interested to hear about this story.
Yeah, that's everybody knows Coach Brown at Maslin, Ohio High School. Some people even forget that he was with Ohio State for a couple of years, but they all know that he was with the Browns and the Bengals. But this chapter in his life, coaching in the military at the Great Lakes Naval Training Station, kind of gets lost. He was there for 3 years. I think I might have misspoke during this history lesson. It was actually
you misspoke
44 through 46, not 45 through 46. But he made a mark there too.
Guess I'm gonna have to make a correction in the video version of your history lesson.
No.
Okay, so you're just gonna leave a flub in there. Gee, great professionalism over there, sir.
All right, upcoming events. This Thursday night, September 9th, the NFL regular season begins. The Dallas Cowboys will be at the Tampa Bay Buccaneers.
It's almost here. I can't believe it.
Yeah.
It's a couple days away. We're going to get actual meaningful
2 days from
NFL football. The defending champions against America's team. Who could ask for a better starting matchup? I mean, I'm excited to see what Dak can do. Dak's been, kind of injured, and we've been waiting to see him. So I'm curious.
Yeah, all we've seen of him is on Hard Knocks this year.
Yeah.
So
is Dallas going to be the most overhyped team per usual? Probably. I'm excited. Let's do this.
Probably. And then on Sunday, September 12th, it's the IFL United Bowl Championship game. The Massachusetts Pirates are at the Arizona Rattlers.
Yes.
All right. That's everything we
That's
had
it.
on our rundown for this week.
Yeah, I mean...
Anything else you want to badmouth me about before we get off the air?
I mean, other than a few of those holes in your shirt, I don't think there's nothing I can do to insult you.
Okay. All right, well, that's all the time we've got for this week. If you learned something during this podcast about the incredible amount of diversity that exists in the world of football, then we've done our job. Visit our website at theworldoffootball.com for news, links, upcoming events, videos, and so much more. Our email address is info@theworldoffootball.com.
You can like The World of Football on Facebook at TWOF Kalamazoo, where we post a lot of unique stories, pictures, and highlights from all over the world of football. And you can find a lot of those same stories and pictures and links and everything on our Twitter account. That's at TWOF Kalamazoo over there on the Twitter. New episodes of this podcast are posted every single Tuesday and are available on SoundCloud, Apple Podcasts, Stitcher, TuneIn, Spotify, iHeartRadio, and YouTube. That's right, you can go listen to the full audio over there. And our YouTube channel is The World of Football Kalamazoo, or TWOF Kalamazoo if you search it on the YouTubes. So subscribe, rate, review, give us your feedback. We're always looking forward to changing things up, as you might have noticed if you're following the YouTube channel. We're trying some different camera angles all the time. Like last week, not the most flattering of
Still trying
angles.
to get it right. Yeah, you're going to blame me for that too.
You could center the cameras a little better, but you're learning.
Yeah.
It's a whole new thing for you, so it's fine.
Yeah.
So come be a part of the football conversation, everybody. We would love to have it.
And beginning this week, we will once again be doing our weekly NFL picks.
Yes.
However, this year it's going to be available exclusively on our YouTube channel.
That's right.
We'll be recording that here in a few minutes after we're done with this portion of our podcast.
And then pretending like we're doing it on Thursday, which will be interesting to see if Randy can pull that charade.
I probably can't.
You probably can't.
So look for those videos every Thursday.
Yeah, every Thursday we'll put up our picks and be held accountable for being idiots or being geniuses.
I plan to do the same that I've done for the last couple of years, which is have no preparation whatsoever.
And flipping coins probably on camera and pulling names out of hats. You'll probably see Randy do a lot of crazy, dumb things.
This is our 4th year of doing this, and I've won the last 2 years in a row.
That can't be right.
Yes.
That can't be right.
You won the first year, and I've won the last 2.
That can't be right.
By only a percentage point or so.
I want to see the votes. I want to see the numbers. I
remember,
don't believe
I
this.
put no preparation into it. You're the fantasy football guy over there, and I'm beating your butt in.
This isn't betting lines.
NFL
We're not doing betting lines.
No,
I'm not a big
it's just
sports
a
bettor.
win or lose.
Yeah.
Who's gonna win? Who's gonna lose?
Yeah, it's simple. It's simple for us because we're simple men
That's right.
of simple football tastes.
That's right.
Yeah, so look out for those. Those videos probably shouldn't be that long, but they were making the podcast usually about 10, 15, 20 minutes longer sometimes than they needed to be. And we like to keep this show to about a tight 60 minutes if we can. So we'll see. This week, might be getting close. Might be under an hour this week.
Yeah, so shut up and let me end this thing. All right, and remember, folks, some people may love football more than we do, but nobody, and I mean nobody, loves more football than we do. Join us again next week when we'll review all the happenings in and around the world of football. Until then, I'm Randy Snow.
And I'm pretty sure we had more screens than a lot of people watching football this weekend. Let's not get that crazy. I'm sure people had 3 or 4 TVs with different college games on.
Yeah.
But, I mean, hey, how many people had college football and indoor football and whatever the third CFL football we had on?
That's right. Well, Elvis had 3 or 4 TVs set up in his basement.
Hey, we saw that TV setup. Yeah, it was a good setup.
We don't have anything like that, but we've got picture-in-picture, and we've got
that's good enough for Randy. Picture-in-picture is good enough for him.
That's right.
And now if he could only figure out how to work his phone to watch games, I mean, he'd be sitting pretty.
Not going to happen. All right. We'll see you all next week.